we find ourselves in the middle of August, and to a degree, we've experienced a cool down. Now, typically, when I'd be talking to you about soybeans this time of year, we'd have a pretty definite irrigation strategy to put in place. We understand that our soybeans are going to use a pretty definite amount of water each week as this crop progresses throughout the course of the year, and we understand how to manage it. For many of you, you take on the strategy that the beans are using roughly an inch a week from here until the middle of September, so I need to irrigate an inch a week to keep up with that. But with this cool down, I believe that it changes the approach somewhat, and it definitely changes our strategy going forward. And that's what we need to talk about today. I'm Keith Byerly, Precision Ag Manager at Central Valley Ag, and this is your Precision Focus that corresponds with the article on the CVA blog site. So as we talk about irrigating soybeans this year, we definitely have had some challenges as we look at it from a typical standpoint. The difference in rains that we've seen across the area have been quite substantial. Some of the growers in the north have only seen, up until this rain a week ago, about 2,500ths of total precipitation from the end of May until the end of July. And typically that would mean one management strategy. But when we over-irrigate our soybeans, we find ourselves with some challenges. We end up with tall beans that are subject to lodging and white mold later on in the season. So as we've talked about all year long, we really want to manage those soybeans for water. As I look at the season this year, many of you have only needed to put on about 2 to maybe 3 rounds, depending on your soil texture, to keep those beans alive and healthy. Anything more than that has really more or less been for your benefit to feel like you're helping your soybeans. But as we look forward at our water use on these soybeans, what any good aqua system user will tell you is that moisture probes in soybeans, it's every bit as much about telling you when not to water as it is telling you when you've hit that trigger to need to water those soybeans. So as we look at our water use and how that's curtailed a bit with these cooler temperatures, we need to understand that the inch strategy may be wrong and may promote some of those undesirable characteristics like white mold that we look at as a possibility. Here's my take home for you today. You need to work with your FSA, you need to work with your ACS professional to understand what the aqua systems probes are telling you out in the fields. Match that water use rate with what the probe is telling you. At this point in the year, it's essential that we don't oversaturate that 4-inch depth and that we really try to do our best to keep 4 and 8 inches as dry as we can throughout the course of the season. These soybeans have developed a great root system. Many of them have 3 foot plus of roots underneath them this season that we can utilize through the end of August and definitely through the month of September to clean up this crop and get us to the end point of the season. We just need to trust that the rainfall events that we've had set us up to manage our watering schedule appropriately, and that we focus on maintaining our aqua systems probe in a range that makes sure that we keep the plant healthy and growing and set up for excellence and profitability, but not oversaturated for disease. So if you have questions about how to interpret the data, how to implement this strategy, talk to your FSA, talk to your regional ACS specialist, and let's make sure that this plan is crystal clear for the last 30 to 45 days of this soybean growing season.